Hey, this is Tom, and as always, first of all, we start this video with the bottom line first. I know some of you are busy, you got shit to do, so let's start with the bottom line. If some of you actually want to stay for the full video, we can do it later. So let's get started with the bottom line. First of all, we have a new target price for Tesla from Wedbush. Then I've raised this target price from $1,100 to $1,400 with an $1,800 bull case. We're going to be talking a lot about that. Speaking of Tesla, Biden went on a rampage talking about how GM is leading the EV revolution of the United States, which I thought was kind of hilarious. I don't know if it's an April Fool's joke, he's legitimately confused, or he's doing it on purpose. Either one of these options is kind of not so good for Biden. We're going to be talking about that as well. Also, let's talk about the GME lawsuit actually getting thrown out of court. A few months ago, if you remember, I talked about a GME lawsuit. GameStop, the whole thing that happened with Robinhood and Citadel, they got sued. People were saying conspiracy, they halted trading. So basically the court said, hey, not going to happen. We're going to be talking about that as well because there's a lot of nuances there I want you to understand. Also, Ford are coming out with a very ambitious plan to go 600,000 full electric vehicles in the next few years, which is kind of ambitious. But also, we have to remember that it's not the first time Ford nor GM come out with these massive plans and, talk is cheap. Let's see what happens. And of course, we're going to be talking about Palantir. What the hell is going on with Palantir? Down 20% in the last 10 days. So let's get started. Let's talk about Tesla first and the new Tesla target price from Wedbush. Now, Dan Ives, the analyst from Wedbush, has always been bullish on Tesla. That's nothing new. And recently, he just gave a target price of $1,100. Now, he's raising it yesterday to $1,400 with a bull case of $1,800 by 2022. Now, his logic is very interesting, and I think we got to talk about this. So his logic is that this is a $5 trillion market, and that Tesla will dominate about half of this market. Now, obviously, we're going to have to say half Eddie, I want half, zebra, blah, 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 umfufu. Now, shout out to Eddie Murphy. So he's thinking half of the market. Tesla means about, $1,400 per stock, maybe even $1,800. I'm not going to argue with that because I don't think it's far from the truth. I know people like to hate about Tesla and say, well, Tesla is losing market share. I don't think it's very accurate, to be honest. If you look at the data from Europe, that is true. But the only reason people are buying more other EVs and not Tesla in the EU in general is because Tesla can't meet demand. The only people I know who bought other EVs that are non-Tesla is because they couldn't wait for Tesla. The waiting was just too long, so they settled on the ID4 or ID3 or whatever garbage out there. So basically, all of these people are buying these non-Tesla EVs for lack of choice because why would you buy anything else? The range is better, the software is better, the full self-driving is better, the infrastructure for charging is better, the batteries are better. Everything about this car is better than any competitor, and they just literally can't meet demand. And I think that's what's driving a lot of these so-called fake loss of market share. Once Tesla ramps up production and are able to actually provide the products to the clients, I think they're going to be back up there. It's kind of obvious to us, but it's really good for Gordon to use in his arguments. Demand is persistent, for lack of a better word. Now, I do want to point out that I said in October 2020, and you can check me on this, that Tesla is a $1,500 stock. That ain't nothing new to me. We've been saying this for a whole year, and a lot of our community actually made money on Tesla. Ching! And so far, we've definitely been enjoying the ride, but I do want to clarify something because I keep seeing it again and again and again. There's a huge difference between the target price for the future and the current valuation of a company. It's completely different things. When Dan Ives is talking about, he's talking about the target price as far as where he sees the price of the stock fluctuates, which also includes, psychology, price psychology, hype, and all that good stuff. He's saying, I think the stock will be at 1,400 by next year. It's an estimation of the trend of the stock price. I'm looking at it and I'm looking at the valuation. What would I pay for this company if I had to buy today based on known cash flows today and in the future? So when I say $1,500, I want to be really clear about this. My target price of $1,500, which was available publicly, not on Patreon, it was available publicly, is basically for the value of the stock today. So when the stock was 400, I said it's valued 1,500. And now it's at 1,100, I'm still saying it's valued at 1,500. There's still a lot of upside in the stock. So instead of hunting for other, quick gains and quick satisfaction like RIVNs and LUCIDs, I think Tesla is definitely the next Tesla. It's kind of simple for me. But guess who doesn't agree with me? Mr. El Presidente, El Honcho, he doesn't agree. I mean, in fact, I don't think he knows Tesla exists. That's the best explanation I can provide. I don't think anybody told him about Tesla, so he thinks GM and Ford are innovating, because that's the only way to explain what just happened at Factory Zero. Love the name Factory Zero, because this is exactly the amount of electric cars they have put out in the last 5 years, excluding, of course, the self-combusting Bolt and them killing EV1, which is kind of ironic. So you have GM pretty much inventing the electric car. EV1 was amazing. They kill it because they become short-sighted and don't see the future. And now they're dragged behind, basically way after Tesla, 10 years behind, getting punished for this primal sin of killing the EV1. And Mary Barra, who actually added sin to sin by investing in Nikola of all companies. Nikola, Mary? Really? So now she's getting praised by President Biden, basically saying that she's leading the EV revolution, and good job GM for being the leaders in EV. Now, he literally said this. I'm not even making this shit up. He went and took a tour at Factory Zero of GM. They converted it to electric vehicles. $2 billion of investment. Good for them. By the way, the same as the amount of the deal they had with Nikola, $2 billion deal, which I think is kind of ironic. Anyways, he took a ride in a Hummer or whatever the fuck that is. And he basically comes out and says, well, yeah, good job, GM. Good job. You're leading the EV industry. You're setting an example for us. Good for you. Now, obviously, he says no word about Tesla, much like he did in the whole EV convention they did in the White House and forgot to invite Tesla or even to mention Tesla. So the question that I'm really curious about, it's what the hell is going on? My initial reaction for this was like, yo, what the fuck? But since I, had a chance to drink some tea with my grandpa, I kind of came down, and here's my kind of academic discussion about this. So I can't decide if President Biden forgot about Tesla, never knew about Tesla, or he's doing it on purpose, or maybe he thinks this is April and this is a good April Fool's joke. I don't know what's going on, but either one of these options is not good for President Biden. I don't know if he understands how internet works these days. This isn't 1974. We can't control the narrative by saying shit on TV. We have this little thing called the internet, something they invented when you were like, 75? And on the internet, people actually call it like they see it, and you can't get away with just ignoring Tesla like this. Now, not to mention the fact that the White House has actively been helping GM and Ford by reducing the tax credit for Tesla because they're not unionized, but that's old news. What I'm seeing here is something really fascinating. So we have one team, which is GM and Ford, losing to another team, which is Tesla, by like 30 points if it's a basketball game. And now the referees are recruited to help the losing team. They're literally working with the team to try and beat the other team. So we have the refs working against Tesla, and still Tesla beating them by 20 points. So there goes GM and Ford. Wish them the best of luck. No disrespect, but you fucked up. Now, let's talk about what happened with GME. So GME was a huge story. GameStop, in case you forgot about it, massive story. The main controversy that came out of it was what happened with the stoppage of trading. So we had Citadel and the Robinhood in the mix and every other brokerage you can think of. And the increased volatility that caused allegedly all this mayhem basically caused them to shut down buying of GME, which sent a lot of people for their pitchforks and the flamethrowers and whatnot. And eventually, like always in America, this leads to litigation. So a suit comes out of it, a class action lawsuit. It goes to federal court, and the federal court, even though they saw what seems to be very clear evidence of communications between Robinhood and Citadel on the eve of this trading of halting, which was, let's say, a little bit peculiar, for lack of better words, allegedly. And so the court basically dismisses this lawsuit. And the thing I want to clarify in this video is that that dismissal was very, very specific. Unless you're a lawyer, it's really hard to understand what they said there. But luckily, I went to law school. Incidentally, I posted my SJD prospectus. I was supposed to be Dr. Tom on my Patreon page. So if you want to read about the tax reform, which I wrote in 2009, go right ahead to our Patreon. 40 pages of fun if you're a hella nerd. Now, that aside, I'll tell you one day with the story why I never became Dr. Tom. I get greedy, took a job in the city. Oh, rhyme. So let's talk about this. So the court basically said that, I'm going to put it in a non-legal language. Basically, we know you fucked up, we just can't prove it. Basically saying, I know you did it, don't have enough proof, much like Denzel Washington once coined, it's not about what you know, it's about what you can prove. It's the same thing here. The best example I can give you is like, you know, when you watch the NFL and they challenge a certain play and the referee goes to the booth to see what's going on. So there's two outcomes that come out of it, right? Well, basically three. One, they overturn the play. And then two, which is the more important, when they let the play stand as is. So if they say the play stands, it's very different when they say the play is confirmed, if you follow the NFL, right? So when the play is confirmed, it means that they looked at it and they confirmed that this is exactly what happened. When they say the play stands, they basically say, we don't have enough evidence to see what the fuck went on here, so the ruling on the field stands, which is exactly what the court did here. They said, we ain't got enough evidence for this shit, get the fuck out. So does it clear Robinhood and Citadel from all the suspicion? Not really in my opinion, but then again, it's my opinion. It might be inaccurate, might be wrong, might be the remedies of a madman. You got to do your research. You got to find out for yourself because I'm not a financial advisor. This is also not legal advice. So go read about it, educate yourself, and see what you come up with. And now let's talk about Ford and their ambitious prediction for 2023. So Ford CEO Jim Farley just came out and said, hey, we're going to make 600,000 electric vehicles, all electric, by 2023. That's right around the corner. And he also said we're going to be the second biggest EV producer in the United States behind Tesla. Now, there's a few things I want to comment on this, and one being the fact that I don't think Jim Farley knows math. I mean, no disrespect to you, but I mean, have you seen about what GM are saying? So GM are saying they're going to make 1 million of full EVs by 2025. So that's a little bit hard for me to grasp. It's either he doesn't believe GM or he hasn't heard about this number. In both cases, I think both of them are full of shit. Let me explain. It's like this game when people are bidding on Monopoly money. We're going to make a 600. We're going to make 1 million. We're going to make 2 million. We're going to make and we're going to make and we're going to make. You know, talk is cheap. The thing is, how many vehicles did you already make? And that number ain't so high, even if you include the EV1, which GM killed. So talk is cheap. Let's see what happens. But I guess this literally goes against what everything about the market right now says. Because based on this market, maybe instead of 600,000 vehicles, he should have said 12. Because if you can make 12 vehicles, you're going to be valued $90 billion, more than Ford. So maybe he should say 12 vehicles. At this point, I don't even know. But what I think will happen, I think the $25,000 car of Tesla might get a new name. And I know Elon loves trolling these companies. Maybe they call it the Mustang. The $25,000, the Mustang, what do you think about it? I think it's going to be really awesome to have a really laugh about the way Ford and GM are basically talking in imaginary numbers while Tesla are putting 1 million vehicles on the road this year or close to 1 million. You know, it is what it is. Now let's talk about Palantir. So Palantir is going through a rough patch, let's put it this way. For the past 10 days, this stock plummeted 20%. So what the hell is going on? We have amazing numbers. The company is producing $190 million in cash flow, 30% Q over Q revenue growth. They're producing about 30% next year for revenue growth. I mean, what the hell is going on? Phenomenal numbers just came out 10 days ago in the financials, and the stock dropped 20%. Now, what I want to explain here is I think we're going through a life cycle, which every stock goes through. And because, you know, Palantir just went public a year ago, people tend to forget what happened with Tesla for a long ass time. So you have these stages that you go through with, you know, initial excitement and then euphoria and then a little bit of an anxiety and then it goes back up, full depression, then a little bit of an optimism, then again, and just a wave. It goes up and down. The thing you want to take a look at is the trend. When in doubt, zoom out. So zoom out to the beginning of the year when actually they went public. I think they went public late 2020, if I'm not mistaken. And look at how much the stock went up. And you'll find that they pretty much doubled and more in size. So these little fluctuations in valuation is just normal market behavior. And I will grant you that Palantir has a higher percentage of speculants, short-term day traders, swing traders that fuel this volatility, insane volatility. But eventually they'll move on to something more interesting, more hypey. And then the only people who are going to stay in there, the people who actually believe in the stock. And the stock is performing great. I'm not even worried. For me, $21.50, which is the current price of the share, is a gift. I'm going to be buying as much as I can. And I can only tell you that Cathie Wood is doing the same thing. Over the past 10 days, while it dropped 20%, Cathie Wood bought 2.5 million shares. It's a whole lot of shares of Palantir. She actually is buying the dip as heavy as one would expect. But then again, let me know below what you guys think about it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to just enjoy it. Don't click nothing, don't smash nothing. We don't need that shit. Thank you so much, and a huge shout out to the channel members and the Patreons for supporting this channel. You guys are amazing. If you want to support the channel, it's $5 per month. It's not mandatory. All the content is free right here for you anyways. But if you want to be a supporter, the link is below. More than welcome. Join our Zoom calls. Have fun. We'll see you tomorrow.